Most people believe their reactions are personal. They say, "This is how I am." But if you observe closely, very closely, you will see that what reacts inside you is often older than you. A sudden anger that rises without warning. A fear that appears even when there is no danger. A guilt that whispers, though no mistake has been made. These are not born in this moment. They are echoes. They are emotional memories carried through blood, behavior, and belief. You did not choose them, yet you repeat them unconsciously, and reaction survives only in noise. Noise of thoughts, noise of justifications, noise of inner dialogue saying, "I am right, I must respond, I cannot stay quiet." Silence enters like a sacred interruption. When silence arises within you, the old emotional script suddenly has no actor. The anger comes, looks for participation, and finds none. The fear knocks, expects obedience, and meets awareness. Silence does not argue with inherited emotions. It simply refuses to become them. This is where transformation begins. You may notice the same situation that once triggered you still appears. The same words are spoken. The same tone reaches your ears. But something subtle changes in that space. You realize, this reaction is familiar, but it is not me. That realization alone weakens generations of conditioning. Inherited emotions survive because they are automatic. They move faster than intelligence. They act before awareness arrives. Silence slows time. In silence, you see anger rising like a wave. And instead of riding it, you watch it crash on its own. This watching is not passive. It is the highest form of inner strength. You are not suppressing the emotion, you are outgrowing it. Feel the power of that difference. Suppression buries emotions, silence illuminates them. And nothing unconscious can survive in light. Your parents may have reacted because they were never taught to pause. Their parents reacted because survival demanded it. Generation after generation responded from instinct, not insight. But you are here now, you are listening, you are aware. That alone changes the trajectory. In silence, the nervous system learns a new language. It realizes danger is no longer present. The body softens, the mind loosens its grip. A reaction that once felt inevitable now feels optional. And karma cannot continue when choice enters the room. Notice how, in silence, emotions complete their cycle naturally. They rise, they stay, they fall. Without your interference, they lose their authority. This is profound healing, not dramatic, not loud, but deeply permanent. Each time you remain silent inside, when the past demands expression, you rewrite an ancient pattern. You are no longer a messenger of inherited pain. You become a point of stillness through which it dissolves. Let there be moments where you do nothing, say nothing, explain nothing. Let silence do the work that effort never could. Because inherited emotional reactions are not broken by fighting them. They are broken when they are finally seen, held in awareness, and allowed to pass without identity. Stay there, in that quiet witnessing. That is where generations begin to heal, because truth does not need volume, and healing does not require victory. Arguments are born from urgency. Awareness is born from clarity. When pain has lived in a family for decades, words become weapons. Everyone speaks, yet no one is heard. Every sentence carries history. Every reaction carries memory. Arguments try to correct the present. Awareness dissolves the past. Feel the weight of this. Most family wounds are not waiting for answers. They are waiting for space. Space where no one is trying to win. Space where no one is trying to prove. Space where the nervous system can finally rest. Arguments keep karma alive because they feed it attention. They keep the old story breathing. They give inherited pain a microphone. Unspoken awareness removes the stage. When you become aware without speaking, something subtle, yet powerful occurs. The cycle expects resistance. It expects defense. It expects retaliation. And when none arrives, confusion enters the pattern. Silence does not mean agreement. Awareness does not mean surrender. It means you are no longer fuel. Think of how many family conflicts repeat the same dialogue year after year. Different days. Same tone. Different reasons. Same emotional ending. Words change. Energy does not. Awareness works at the level where words never reach. When you sit with awareness, You are not planning your reply. You are feeling the moment fully. You are sensing what is happening beneath the language. Fear behind the anger, the insecurity behind the control, the loneliness behind the criticism, and something inside you softens. That softening is not weakness. It is intelligence recognizing pain instead of attacking it. Arguments harden identity. Awareness melts it. In awareness you stop seeing your family as opponents. You start seeing them as carriers of unresolved experience. This seeing alone releases centuries of emotional tension. Let this land, one aware being. In a family shifts the entire emotional climate. You may not see it immediately, but atmosphere changes. Voices lose intensity. Reactions lose sharpness. Conflicts shorten. Not because people have changed, but because the field has. Awareness is contagious in silence. When you do not react, the other person is forced to face themselves. Arguments give them something to fight. Awareness gives them a mirror, and mirrors heal faster than debates. Generational pain is not logical. You cannot reason it away. It lives in the body, not in language. Awareness meets pain where it lives. When you stay present without speaking, your body communicates safety. Your calm nervous system begins to regulate others. Even without touch, even without words. This is ancient wisdom. This is how healing happened before psychology had vocabulary. Unspoken awareness does what explanations never can. It says, I am here. I am not against you. And in that message, defenses begin to fall. Arguments say, listen to me. Awareness says, I see you. And being seen is the deepest medicine. Many believe silence allows injustice, but silence with awareness is not passive. It is deeply active, internally precise. You are choosing presence over impulse, truth over habit, healing over history. Each time you refuse to argue, you interrupt an old transmission. Each time you stay aware, you shorten the lifespan of ancestral pain. Generations do not heal through discussion. They heal through demonstration. When children see awareness instead of reaction, they learn a new emotional language, one that was never taught to you. That is how karma dissolves quietly. No speeches, no confrontations, no emotional wars. Just one human being choosing consciousness over conflict, again, and again, and again. Stay there, in that alert stillness, in that wordless understanding. That is where healing travels faster than sound. Not by fighting them, not by escaping them, but by refusing to move in the old direction. Most family patterns continue not because they are strong, but because they are familiar. They move through generations like a river that has never been questioned. Anger flows where anger has always flowed. Silence follows where silence once protected. Survival control appears where fear was never allowed to speak. And the child learns without being taught. You did not inherit only eye color or voice tone. You inherited emotional reflexes, ways of responding before thinking, ways of closing before understanding. These patterns operate below consciousness. They activate faster than choice. That is why effort alone fails. That is why promises to do better next time collapse in the heat of the moment. Inner stillness works where effort cannot reach. When stillness arises within you, something ancient stops running. The body pauses. The mind hesitates. The emotional wave loses momentum. Stillness creates a gap in the machinery. In that gap, the unconscious has no script. Notice this carefully. Patterns require speed. They survive on immediacy. Stillness slows everything down. A reaction that once took over in a second now waits, hesitates, softens, and in that hesitation, freedom is born. Inner stillness is not silence on the outside. It is silence before response. It is the moment when awareness arrives before habit. This is revolutionary. When you remain still inside, the old pattern looks for permission. It says, react like before. And stillness replies, not now. That simple refusal changes lineage. You may feel discomfort in the beginning. Patterns do not like interruption. They create anxiety when they are not obeyed. Stay with that discomfort. It is the sound of karma losing authority. Your family patterns were formed in moments of survival, not love. They were strategies, not truths. They once protected someone, but now they imprison everyone. Inner stillness recognizes this. Without judgment, no blame, no rebellion, just understanding. In stillness, You begin to sense how reactions rise from the body. A tightening in the chest, a heat in the stomach, a pressure behind the eyes. You watch it all, and because you watch, you are no longer inside it. This watching is sacred work. Each time you stay still while a pattern urges movement, you reclaim a piece of your nervous system. Generations before you had no space to pause. Life demanded reaction, culture demanded obedience, pain demanded silence or aggression. But you live in a different moment now. You have the privilege of awareness, and privilege brings responsibility. Inner stillness does not announce itself. No one may notice, but the pattern notices. It weakens, it hesitates next time. It no longer feels inevitable. This is how deep change happens. Quietly, invisibly, irreversibly. Children raised around inner stillness learn something extraordinary. They learn that emotion can be felt without being acted out. They learn that intensity does not require explosion. They inherit awareness instead of wounds. Let this touch you. You are not here to repeat history. You are here to complete it. Inner stillness is the completion, not dramatic transformation, not spiritual performance, but moment-to-moment presence. Stay still when the old energy rises. Breathe when the pattern demands expression. Watch when the past seeks continuation. That watch is the interruption. That interruption is freedom, because the soul was never bound by blood. In the first place, blood creates connection in the body. Silence reveals connect. Ion in consciousness. Most people grow up believing family is defined by roles. Mother, father, sibling, lineage, duty. But long before these roles were given names, the soul already knew itself as free, vast, and uncontained, and yet, families often become the place where the soul feels most confined. Words accumulate, expectations harden, histories repeat, noise replaces knowing. Feel this gently. Silence does not erase family bonds, it transcends them. When you become silent within, something profound happens. You stop relating to people only as relatives, and begin to perceive them as fellow travelers in consciousness. This shift is subtle, but life-altering. The soul recognizes the soul, not the role. Arguments keep you trapped in identity. Silence loosens identity's grip. In silence, you are no longer a son trying to be understood, a daughter trying to be seen, a parent trying to be obeyed. You are simply presence meeting presence. And presence has no genealogy. When the mind quiets, you feel a connection that does not depend on approval, a closeness that does not require agreement, a love that does not demand explanation. This is soul-level recognition. It is not emotional, it is spacious. Silence removes the filters of memory. Old stories lose volume, past injuries lose color. You look at a family member, and for a brief moment, just a moment, you see them without the weight of history. In that moment, karma loosens. This is why silence heals where conversation fails. Conversation belongs to the mind. Silence belongs to the being. The mind divides through labels. The being unites through awareness. When you sit quietly with another, even inwardly, without trying to fix, correct, or convince, the soul senses safety. And where there is safety, truth emerges naturally. Pause. Stay with this. Silence creates an inner distance from emotional entanglement, but an outer closeness that is genuine. You are no longer enmeshed, you are connected. There is a difference. Enmeshment suffocates. Connection liberates. Blood relationships often carry expectation. You should understand me, you owe me, you belong to me. Silence dissolves these invisible contracts, not through rebellion, but through realization. You realize the soul does not belong, it shares. In silence, compassion becomes effortless, not because you force forgiveness, but because you see beyond conditioning. You see that everyone in your family is acting from their level of awareness. No one is intentionally carrying karma. They are simply unconscious of it. This seeing brings tenderness, and tenderness does not argue. Silence allows love without dependency, care without control, presence without possession. This is a higher form of relationship, one that does not deny blood ties, but does not worship them either. The soul breathes in this space. When you are silent within, you no longer demand emotional repayment. You stop keeping accounts. You stop measuring who gave more, who hurt more. The soul does not calculate, it recognizes. and recognition is enough. Families heal, not when everyone agrees, but when one person relates from depth instead of habit. That depth is silence. It says, without words, I meet you beyond history, I see you beyond behavior, I honor you beyond blood. Stay in that quiet recognition, let it expand. This is where true belonging begins. Not in lineage, but in awareness shared, not because others are convinced, but because the current of consciousness shifts. Lineage is not only carried through names and traditions, it is carried through reactions, through emotional reflexes passed like heirlooms. Anger handed down as strength, fear disguised as care, silence used as protection. Most people believe change requires collective effort, but transformation has never worked that way. It begins with one point of awareness. Pause here. Let this be felt. A lineage is like a river. It flows in one direction because it has always flowed that way. No one questions the movement. Everyone assumes it is natural. When one person becomes silent inside, they step out of the current, and the river notices. Silence is not passive withdrawal. It is a conscious refusal to be pulled by momentum. When you do not react where reaction was expected, you create a disturbance in the pattern, not chaos. Clarity. The old emotional energy reaches you and finds no echo. It looks for its familiar response and finds stillness. That stillness acts like a mirror. Others may not understand it, they may feel uncomfortable around it, they may even resist it. That resistance is proof of impact. Generational pattern. Survive on agreement. Unspoken agreement to continue. Silence breaks that agreement without confrontation. You are no longer feeding the inherited story, you are observing it. Observation withdraws energy, and what loses energy begins to weaken. Families often try to change behavior through pressure. Pressure creates rebellion or submission. Both continue karma. Silence creates space. In that space, unconscious habits are exposed. Someone may suddenly hear themselves shouting, someone may notice their own fear, someone may feel the emptiness behind control. You did not point it out, you did not accuse. Your silence allowed it to surface. This is subtle leadership, not leading from authority, but from alignment. When one nervous system becomes regulated, others begin to attune to it. This is not philosophy, it is biology, it is presence. Children sense it first. They feel safety without explanation, they learn calm without instruction, they inherit stillness instead of struggle. Stay with this. You may never receive credit, you may never hear gratitude, but the lineage records the shift. Karma listens to consciousness, not applause. Your silence today may spare someone 10 years of suffering tomorrow. This is how healing travels across time, not through speeches, not through force, but through being. One silent being changes the emotional climate, just as one candle alters a dark room. Without fighting the darkness, the flame does not argue with the dark. It simply shines. Silence is that flame. It teaches others that reaction is optional, that peace is possible, that the past does not have to repeat. And even if no one follows immediately, the seed has been planted. Lineage do not change overnight. They shift gradually, then suddenly, and the turning point is always one person. Stay there, in that quiet courage, in that unspoken resolve. Your stillness is not just personal, it is ancestral work.